And so I'm going to kick it off by going to Kenji. And Kenji, would you please share with everybody here in attendance sort of what has been your secrets to success and keys to success throughout your career in hospitality?
Thanks, Peter. I would probably, when I talk about my secrets to success, it's what has gotten me to where I'm going. It's slightly different than what will be on your path. But for me, one, I talk about have passion for what you do. There's a quote out there that says, if you find a job you love, you don't have to work a day in your life. And I'm a true believer that, I've been in this business now for 33 years. I started when I was like 2 or 3. But I think that helps you get through your days. It makes you more successful because you do have a passion for doing and being successful. Secondly, I would say another secret for me is just to be innovative and continue learning. When I first started in this industry, the computer systems were very archaic. I had manual keys when I worked at the hotel. There was no cell phone. There wasn't even a pager back then. So the world continues to evolve over the course of time, and we have to be nimble to be able to succeed. One of the things that we talk about here at San Manuel is to fail fast and learn faster. We have to continue to make risks to do things that are going to be better. And if they don't work, well, guess what? We've learned a lesson from it. How do we fix it? How do we continue progressing? And probably the third thing that I'll use on mine is don't forget where you came from, right? I think being humble, being a believer, of team engagement, working hard, working side by side with team, that's for me one of the successes that has really helped me along the way, because when it all comes down to it, you can't do this job by yourself in any capacity. You need to have your team with you working side by side. And the way to be successful is to just remember that and never forget who you are and where you came from.
Thank you for sharing that, Kenji. Lori, I'm going to turn it over to you. Lori, you've had quite a career as well, working in a variety of different markets and for different companies, both the tribal and commercial. What for you has been your secrets to success throughout your career that you would like to share with everyone today?
A lot of mine are somewhat similar to Kenji's, but what I think is important is that you take chances and you take opportunities. As you mentioned, I've been in Chicago, I've been in Las Vegas, and now I'm in California. I took opportunities to learn, to advance. You have to be willing to take chances that may be lateral. Sometimes they may even be backwards, just to learn more about the business and learn more for your own growth and development. So never forget that taking a chance and taking an opportunity just to learn more will help you develop and farther advance in your career.
Thank you, Lori. And then you mentioned multi-state jurisdictions. Kevin, I think you've worked in a variety of different jurisdictions and states throughout your career. Any tips for secrets to success that you would like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, I think mine are very similar. My journey was launched by taking some risks. I moved into a brand new market in Chicago that never had a casino. And I wasn't afraid of doing that. And I think for me, I kind of reframed risk or possible failure as learning opportunities. Those moves are really about learning and growing and being prepared for the next opportunity whenever it came into existence. Secondly, I think I've always been a hard worker, but I had a good mentor somewhere along the way that told me hard work is not enough. You need to learn how to work smart. You need how to learn, especially as a manager, to work through people. And that was an important step for me to learn, I think, along my path as a manager. And finally, I think sort of just to kind of reframe things, you have to learn how to live in the present. When you can't rewind the past, you can't go back and fix that stuff, and you can't really control the future. What you can do is prepare for opportunities by the work that you do today. So I think those are probably the three that I would offer.
Thank you, Kevin. That's very insightful. Now I'm going to turn it over to you, David. During your intro, I mentioned that you worked in you were a member of the U.S. Navy and served our country. Having that military background and transitioning to a civilian sort of sector, what are some of the secrets of success you learned as part of that journey that you would like to share with everyone today?
Thank you, Peter, and it was an honor to serve our country. And yeah, I was in the service for 3 years, and I was in the service during wartime. It felt like I was in the service for 30 years after 3 years of being out to sea there. But, you know, I learned a lot about discipline. I learned a lot about working with, you know, a team that comes from different backgrounds, has different ways to do things, and come from different areas. So I learned to be very adaptive and very open and very receptive to different ideas and ways to do things. The military is very structured, and we do a lot of preparation. We do a lot of practice for things that could potentially happen. And you learn to rely on your team. You rely on one another, and everybody has to do their role, and they have to do it right. They have to execute to a high level, because when you're out there in the ocean and somebody doesn't do their job, lives are on the line there. So you learn very quickly how to be responsible and accountable, you know, and that served me well in the business world, and in particular in casinos, because casinos are so big. There's so much going on. There's so many people. There's so many potential distractions. I mean, it's an exciting business. There's a lot of things that are going on. And if you're not focused on your area and doing your job to the highest level, you know, some things can go wrong, and there's potential for risk there. So I learned to work with teams. I love working with teams. I've been working for large, successful casinos for 20 plus years now. And the commonality with large groups is really sharing a vision, sharing goals and objectives. Everybody likes to know what the goal is. You know, I love to rally a team. I love to have a good challenge and get the group together going for a common goal there. And everybody feels part of the team. They feel valued. They feel they contribute, and we share in our successes. We share in our failures, you know, but, you know, as busy as we are and as hard as we work, you know, trying to have fun at the end of the day. So working hard, feeling good about what you're doing, making a difference, and, you know, having fun and making sure everybody feels included and part of the team, and really that they are going to share in the benefits of doing a great job and succeeding.
Thank you for sharing that, David. You bring up teamwork, and I'm going to go over to you, Kevin. You know, as I mentioned in your introduction, you did play football at the college level. How would you say you were able to take that experience playing on a collegiate football team and translate it into success in the workforce?
I'd say that there's a lot of parallels to slots in football. You know, they both have several roles that have to work together to make the team function well. You know, for slots, we have attendants and supervisors and managers on that side. On the tech side, we have tech, 3 different levels of technician. We have bench techs. On the kind of on the analysis side, we have an analyst, we have project coordinators. All those people have to come together in order for a slot department to work, to function properly. Football's the same. You know, I played defense. I played a cornerback, was one of 2, got a couple of safeties, a couple of outside linebackers, 2 inside linebackers. Everybody had a role to play on that defense, and had to play it properly in order for the entire defense to work well. Another parallel, I guess, is that, you know, between slots and football, is that typically there's a lot more happening than meets the eye. In football, there's varying jobs, again, as I mentioned. All those jobs are a little different, and even though, I guess, maybe to the untrained eye, to some respect, guys line up and it looks pretty much the same. But there's a lot to learn and a lot that happens on any individual play. I had to learn, you know, all our basic coverages: 0, cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, 4, 6, and 7. They all look the same at the start, but we're all very different. Cover 1 and 2 were man. I had to cover the guy in front of me. Cover 2 had a flat. Cover 3 had a deep third. Cover 4, 1 of 4 corners. Cover 6, it depended whether I was on the short side of the field, the long side of the field. I played cover 2 or cover 3. And cover 7, it was same thing, except it was strong side, weak side. And again, that sounds like a lot, and it kind of is. But after a while, those things become second nature. You learn how to do those things without even really thinking about it. That kind of parallels with what we do here in slots, in that the slot attendant job, there's really a lot more going on there than people understand. People see folks paying jackpots, opening games, and fixing them. But, you know, in a property this size, we have over 100 different cabinets. People have to learn how all those cabinets work. They all open slightly different. They all have different menus. They're different operating functions. They all have slightly different software. So when the attendant gets in the game and has to do a recall, the menus are going to be in different places, and they're going to look differently. They have to learn all those different things. They have to learn different processes and procedures. When they open the door, the VFEs are in different places. Again, reading menus are very different. So again, you know, it's like a duck paddle, and there's The feet are going crazy underwater, but it looks very smooth on top. And I think that's what we aim for, to have a kind of a refined service presence, but with all those things kind of going on in the background. And finally, you have to adjust and adapt to the environment. Football, the job only starts with a coverage. After the snap, you have to make decisions. I mentioned the different coverages, and what you did depended on what the offense did. If I was in cover 3, I had to cover a deep third. If the receiver stopped short, I stopped short. If somebody was crossing behind me or crossing the zones, I had to get back there and cover that guy. That was just cover 3. And if it was a run, it was different. I had to come up and force or take on a tackle. Those different kinds of things happen. Slots is the same thing. Sometimes the game doesn't send a signal. Sometimes there are power outages. There's a guest without an ID. There's seat switches. There are all kinds of things happen. And we have processes and procedures for that. But again, a lot of those things happen, and you have to be kind of nimble on your feet. I think I've learned a lot of that in the past, and I think people learn those things. But those are kind of interesting parallels between, I guess, sports and football in particular, and what we do here.
Thank you. That's very insightful, Kevin, and kind of opens the door to a lot of folks who maybe didn't know much about what's all entails to become successful in the slot department. So thank you for sharing that. Kenji, I'm going to turn it over to you. Another sports reference. Kenji did play collegiate tennis while he was at UNLV, and he was quite a star during his time there. But that tennis is an individual sport, so it's highly competitive. How would you say, taking the teamwork component that Kevin and David talk about, how do you take that competitiveness from a sport like tennis and apply it to the workplace like San Manuel for success?
First, thanks for calling me a tennis star. I don't think I was quite at that level, but I did play at UNLV, and I enjoyed that time. But it is, one thing that I'll take from that on the competitive side is that, and the same thing happens in football as well, is that it takes a lot of practice to be good at what you're doing. And when Kevin's talking about all the different coverages and how hard the book of plays is to learn at the beginning, it is that in every sport to some degree. And it looks easy once you figured out how everything works. The same thing works here in the casino. When we start out, feel like you're just so much information is coming at you. And then all of a sudden things start to get a little easier. You understand it and you can start excelling at it. But the competitive nature, when it comes to goal setting and succeeding, really, I think part of it is that winning is kind of fun a lot of times too. And I think that's part of what drives me as well, is because I like to win. But in this case, I think the win has much more value than in any other place that I've been. I've been in corporate environments in different areas throughout my career, but we win here that we win to help a tribe and continue their sustainability into perpetuity. That is our goal, is to continue to allow our tribe to remain sovereign. And once you meet the tribe and the people, it's so rewarding every time you come out with a victory, because you're doing it for the right reasons. And one thing I always tell people, this tribe is something unlike anything I've ever seen or been around before. What they do for the community. I think since 2003, over $280 million has been donated to the community. That's unbelievable. It's just unheard of, the heart of the tribe. And during the pandemic, what the tribe did, and providing meals for first responders and keeping on staff and making sure that we were all safe when we opened the doors. Safety was the number one priority, and our health. And so when you see that, and you see what I've seen in my past and other areas in other corporations, it definitely has more meaning to be competitive and to win.
Thank you for that. And you couldn't have said it more. It's just such a great environment to work for, and a great tribe to work for. Lori, if we could just tug on that for a moment. This is your first tribal gaming role that you've worked in. For those out there, can you maybe perhaps describe the differences in success measured from a commercial casino versus a tribal casino? What does that look like for you?
I would agree with a lot of what Kenji said. Working for the tribal casino, you're furthering the family, it's much more important, and you're making a difference in the community. Versus corporate America, I would say that you're adding profits to the bottom line. There's less of a focus on the people. There's less of a focus on the community. I really, really enjoy working for the tribal versus the corporate America, because I like giving back. I like that we're doing for the people. And like Kenji mentioned, we opened safely. We made sure all of our patrons that came in the door were going to be safe. We made sure all of our employees were going to be safe. It wasn't a matter of, profit and loss, right? Bottom line, it was a matter of making sure everybody who came to our casino was going to be safe and able to enjoy their time.
Thank you, Lori. And we all know that, that investment in that will, result in positive cash flow. So it comes one and without, it's not mutually exclusive as we've seen with others who believe otherwise, but it's been very rewarding to work for an organization that does care about the community so much. Switching gears a little bit, David, I'm going to go to you and talk about just transferable skill set. And for those folks that are in attendance that are listening and thinking, perhaps maybe they want to come in and to the hospitality area and either grow their career in a different area in hospitality or maybe in a whole new department altogether. What would you say to them are some secrets to success if they're looking to make that type of a move?
Thank you, Peter. One of the secrets that I found is finding a mentor or a role model, somebody that can help guide you, somebody you can learn from, somebody that's doing the things that you aspire to do, always serves you well. And surround yourself with good people, right? It's really about who you surround yourself. You're going to emulate, you're going to learn from, you're going to build relationships and networks. People are going to be there for you. So if you need any assistance or help or advice, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, all of us here on the panel today have had mentors and role models that have helped us all along the way. And as far as the skills go, I mean, there's a lot of talented folks out there. It's really about finding the right fit for you, doing something that you love. And, we talk about caring, right? Caring to me is a big thing. And if you care about what you're doing and you're doing it for the right reasons and you have a lot of integrity, you're going to go places in this business. Because, when you care about what you do the right thing. You don't get distracted with things that are going to throw you off or not drive, results. The thing is really focus on what you can control and drive and deliver results at the end of the day, and do it with a smile and do it with a positive attitude. And, your career can flourish, not thinking there's a fast track or focusing on just getting a title or a higher salary. By coming in, working hard, doing the right thing, having a positive attitude, taking on responsibilities at every turn where you can grow and learn from something is just going to make you more and more value and open the door to new opportunities along the way. And working in a casino, what I found, and I've been in casinos now for 25 years, I was very fortunate to get my first job in a casino. And I like to stay in a place and I like to contribute and I like to see growth. And I love challenges and I want to always improve year after year and to stay in a company and see that happen is important to me, and you build those relationships. So what I found was I was able to start in one department. And when I felt like I rose to a level where I gained expertise, then I was able to lateral move into another department without having to leave the organization. Right. And I found myself working and then working in a new role, and then the promotion started. And I was able to sustain jobs at one company for 5-7 years there. And then when the opportunity's there, you reach your ceiling, it's time to take a chance, right? A calculated risk. And sometimes moving to a new organization after that serves you well because you're meeting new people, you're opening up your mind to new ideas, and you're able to grow yourself by taking on a new responsibility there. So, I really think casinos offer a multitude of opportunities, not only for jobs, but to learn and grow and to meet people that will ultimately help you, down the road in your career.